It's Wednesday, August 25th, 2010. I'm Kevin McShan, and this is the McShan Sports Beat Report. We create our fate every day we live, because after all, each man is the architect of his own future. For Michigan Wolverines head football coach Rich Rodriguez, unless he pulls a rabbit out of the hat this season and wins some football games, his immediate future may be at the end of the nearest unemployment line in the great state of Michigan. There's been no shortage of opinion on what exactly needs to happen for the embattled Rodriguez to remain on the sideline for the Maize and Blue for years to come. That continued on Tuesday when ESPN college football analyst Jesse Palmer and former Michigan Heisman Trophy winner Desmond Howard joined in a conference call with the Detroit media to discuss Rodriguez's future. Palmer says that Rodriguez needs to follow a very simple blueprint in order to remain gainfully employed at U of M. He says the only remedy to this situation is for Rodriguez and his staff to win some football games. Amidst all the NCAA allegations of the 5 major rules violations against Michigan, I really think in order for Rich Rodriguez to keep his job, he has to win. He's 8-16 in 2 years, and when I say win, I'm not sure that 6 wins and a bowl game does it, Palmer said. Palmer says that everyone's expectations should be raised in Ann Arbor as Rodriguez heads into his 3rd season as head coach of the Wolverines. I realistically think Michigan has to win at least 8 games or win 7 games and beat Ohio State in order for him to keep his job. You look at the proud tradition of Michigan, 130 or so years. They've never been in trouble with the NCAA accusations, and now here they are, and only Rich Rodriguez's 3rd season. Something right has to happen, he said. The NCAA has accused the university of 5 major rule violations related to practice time and workouts. The allegations came following a Detroit Free Press report by Free Press sports columnists Mark Snyder and Michael Rosenberg. The school admitted their guilt back in May, saying that they were guilty of 4 of the 5 violations. However, they spent the majority of their time in a meeting in front of the NCAA Committee on Infractions earlier this month, challenging the 5th and final violation that Rodriguez failed to promote an atmosphere of compliance. The meeting reportedly lasted 7.5 hours between the two sides. Michigan will most likely have to wait 6 to 8 weeks for a final verdict from the NCAA. When the Wolverines admitted their guilt back in May, they reprimanded Rodriguez and 6 other people. The school also imposed their own self-imposed sanctions, including 2 years of probation, and they also agreed to cut back on the number of training hours by 130, which is double the amount of time they exceeded by NCAA rules. Michigan has also reduced the number of quality control assistant coaches on Rodriguez's staff from 5 to 3. They've also banned them from attending any practices or games for the rest of the year. Howard says that the only other saving grace for Rodriguez, other than winning games and seeing significant improvement, would be a win against their arch rival, the Ohio State Buckeyes, at the end of the season. I've told people all along, I think, well, I know, a win against Ohio State goes a long way. He may not have to win 8 or 9 games if you can find a way to beat the Buckeyes. At that point, you give your athletic director reason to consider retaining you once you beat the Buckeyes, Howard said. Palmer says the Wolverines' offense has a chance to be successful, especially with the return of sophomore quarterbacks Tate Forcier and Denard Robinson, who are both in an open competition for the starting job for the Wolverines opener September 4th against the Connecticut Huskies. When you think about the tradition and what these fans expect, this team has to win now. The good news is, this is the first time in 2 years they'll have a quarterback with hopefully at least 1 year of starting experience, he said. However, Palmer admits that this team may find a rocky road in their first couple of games in September. This team has to get off to a fast start, and it's easier said than done, playing UConn week 1 and then traveling to Notre Dame, Palmer said. If you wanted to describe Rodriguez's first couple of seasons at the helm of the Maize and Blue as somewhat tenuous and volatile, you would be correct. However, the bottom line is for Rodriguez to avoid getting a pink slip from athletic director David Brandon. He's got to win some football games, and everybody knows that, including Rodriguez. So we'll see if he and his staff can get the winningest university in all of college football back on track, or if Brandon will be forced to put an end to this sinking ship, because one thing is for sure, patience is running thin in Ann Arbor. Kevin McShan Sports Beat Report.